1923 Season 2's finale is the origin of that mysterious Dutton character. Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone prequel, 1923, has come to a close, along with a long-running mystery regarding the Dutton family. As the Yellowstone franchise expands with new prequels, we continue to learn more and more about the history of the Dutton family tree. We know how the Duttons traveled to Montana in 1883, and we know how Yellowstone ended, but there are still pieces in between that paint a more complete picture of the storied family. Kevin Costner's John Dutton II is the lead of Yellowstone, and the most iconic character Taylor Sheridan has created. He's the quintessential Dutton, and he descends from 1883's James Dutton. We saw John Dutton in 1923 Season 1 before he was killed, and we also saw John Dutton II in Yellowstone flashbacks at the end of his life. One of the longest-standing mysteries has been the origin of John Dutton II. Until today, we hadn't confirmed who his parents really were. 1923 Season 2 ending is tragic, as even though Spencer heroically rescues Alex from certain death in the cold, she still meets her end in a hospital later in the episode after giving birth to their son. Alexandra Dutton sacrifices her life so that John Dutton II can be born, finally clearing up the mystery. Since the beginning of 1923 Season 1, John II's parentage could have been either one of two possibilities: the pairing of Spencer and Alex, or the pairing of Jack and Elizabeth. 1923 Season 2 revealed that Elizabeth was pregnant, suggesting that her son might have gone on to be John II. This would have made sense, as Jack's father was John Dutton I, and he might have wanted to name his son after him. With Jack's death and Elizabeth leaving the ranch, Spencer, Kara, and Jacob will be the ones to raise John Dutton II, carrying on the legacy of the Dutton Ranch after the violent ending to its conflict with Donald Whitfield and Banner Creighton. As mentioned, John Dutton II is the father of Kevin Costner's John Dutton II. There has yet to be a TV series specifically oriented around him, but we saw him briefly in Yellowstone flashbacks, played by Dabney Coleman. In fact, we only ever saw John Dutton II on the day of his death, as John II sat with him in the mountains, watching the valley of their ranch as he passed on. With his birth in 1923 in mind, he would have been roughly 80 years old at the time of his death. The wind howled across the Montana plains as if it carried the secrets of a century. Snow was falling, not gently, but with purpose, like the land was trying to bury something, or someone. And in the shadow of that storm, the finale of 1923 Season 2 delivered the biggest twist the Dutton saga has ever seen. For decades, Yellowstone fans have speculated about the origin of a certain enigmatic character in the Dutton lineage, a figure referenced in hushed tones, whose portrait hangs crookedly in the ranch's great room, whose name never comes up in dinner table conversations. Until now, that is. The finale opens on a somber note. Jacob Dutton, Harrison Ford, is recovering from his injuries, but the fire in his eyes has dimmed. He knows the land is changing. The arrival of railroads, new laws, and even newer enemies make it clear that the old ways are slipping away. Kara Dutton, Helen Mirren, has taken to writing letters again, not to Spencer this time, but to someone else, someone unexpected. Meanwhile, Spencer and Alexandra find themselves stranded in a small town in Nebraska, forced to take shelter with a widow who claims to have known James Dutton. She tells them stories that don't quite match the family history. In one chilling moment, she holds up an old locket. Inside is a photo of a young man with Dutton eyes, but the name etched on the back is unfamiliar: Elias. Back in Montana, the battle over the land has escalated. Banner Creighton has returned, this time with a gang of hired guns and deep-pocketed investors from back east. The final standoff takes place under a blood-orange sky, with Jacob, Jack, and a handful of loyal ranchers defending what remains of the Dutton spread. But amid the chaos, it's not the gunfight that delivers the jaw-dropper. It's the birth. Earlier in the season, Tana Rainwater and her protector Pete had vanished into the wilderness, leaving behind only whispers. In the finale, they re-emerge, seeking refuge at the Dutton Ranch. Tiana is visibly pregnant. The Duttons take them in, despite the tensions brewing across cultural lines. Kara, always the matriarch, extends a quiet hand of support. She tells Tiana, "This place will be your home. And your child, he'll be safe here." Later that night, under the cover of snow and silence, Tiana goes into labor. It's a difficult birth, filled with tension and pain, but Karen never leaves her side. At dawn, a baby boy is born. And then the twist. Jacob enters the room, gazes down at the child, and then looks at Tiana, who nods solemnly. "His name is Elias," she says. "Elias Dutton." Gasps across living rooms, tweets flying, forums lighting up. Wait, what? The show cuts to a voiceover from Spencer, writing in his journal as he stares out a frosted window. "There are many ways to be a Dutton," he says. "By blood, by choice, by survival. And sometimes the land decides who belongs to it." Through a montage, we see Elias growing up on the Dutton Ranch, his skin tone and features making him stand out, but never left out. Jacob raises him as his own grandson. Kara teaches him to read and write. Jack shows him how to break a horse. But there's always a shadow around Elias, a sense that his legacy is both heavier and more dangerous than even he understands. The final scene jumps decades ahead. We're in the late 1960s now. An older man, dressed in a dusty denim coat and cowboy hat, stands alone on a hill overlooking the ranch. The camera pans to his weathered face. He is unmistakably of mixed heritage. His eyes are hauntingly familiar. A young John Dutton, too, walks up beside him. "Uncle Elias," he says, "you ever regret staying?" Elias smiles faintly. "I don't regret belonging." Cue the slow fade to black. The closing credits roll over an original song, something mournful, with strings and steel guitar. And with that, 1923 rewrote the family tree. So who is Elias Dutton? Some fans are convinced he's the great-uncle of Kevin Costner's John Dutton REI. Others speculate he's a metaphorical ancestor to characters like Monica or Tate, tying together the Native American and Dutton bloodlines in a more profound way. Either way, Elias' presence fills in a major blank in the Dutton lore and redefines what it means to be part of that powerful, cursed legacy. From a storytelling standpoint, Elias' origin adds emotional complexity to the Dutton saga. He's a child born out of trauma, resilience, and hope. Tiana's journey, which began in the cruel confines of a residential boarding school, becomes the most powerful arc in 1923, not just surviving, but contributing a future to a family that once represented everything she feared. The twist also forces viewers to reconsider the moral lines of the Dutton family. Jacob's acceptance of Elias, in a time when such a move would be scandalous, shows a depth of character rarely seen in patriarchal westerns. Kara's tenderness proves that the true legacy of the ranch isn't just land or cattle, but love, especially when it defies expectation. As for what this means moving forward, fans are now clamoring for a spin-off, perhaps titled Elias, The Forgotten Dutton or The Branch. Could this be Taylor Sheridan's secret project, quietly in development while we've all been distracted by Yellowstone's final season? Or will Elias become a spectral figure in the background of future timelines, his legacy influencing choices we've already seen play out? One thing is certain, 1923 Season 2 didn't just end with a bang. It ended with a legacy. A reminder that bloodlines are more than just DNA. They're built from survival, sacrifice, and the land beneath your boots. And Elias Dutton. He might be the most important Dutton of them all.